Hello, Facebook. Hello, Instagram. So tonight I want to jump into four lies about trademarks and copyrights. 4 lies about copyrights and trademarks. However you want to put it. Copyrights and trademarks. All right, that's what we're going to talk about. But 4 lies that you may be believing about it, and it may be actually causing you to be exposed to liability without you even knowing. So before we jump into 4 lies about copyrights and trademarks, I want to briefly introduce myself. I am Shayla Jackson. I am the Purpose Police, here to serve and protect Kingdom CEOs so that you are armed and legally dangerous to protect his business and your business too. I'm also a trademark and business attorney. I have my own law firm, but I also coach, train, and consult and teach Kingdom CEOs how to DIY the legal in your business. So I teach on the laws of doing business for Kingdom CEOs, because the reality is whether you can afford a lawyer or you can't, before you ever get to an attorney, you're already doing things that require that's legal. And so like copyrights and trademarks exist long before you ever register. So long before you ever hire an attorney like me to file your trademark, guess what? You either have one or you don't. And same thing with copyrights. Before we even register a copyright, you either have it or you don't. And so it's important for you that you understand the laws of doing business, because for everything in your business, there is a law for that. There's a law for that. Okay. So tonight we're going to talk about 4 lies that you may be believing about copyrights and trademarks. You ready? I'm ready. And before I jump in, if you have not registered for tomorrow's Copyright This, Trademark That training, it's an interactive training, you need to get your seat. Okay. If you're a Kingdom CEO, you need to get your seat to protect and learn how to protect and spot the God ideas, the protection that's needed for the God ideas and your wealth. And so you can register at onedangerousceo.com/events. All right, let's get into the 4 lies. All right. Lie number 1. Lie number 1. And look, if you believe this, it's okay. Ouch. It's okay. The one thing about Armed and Legally Dangerous, it's a safe place to expose your mistakes. A safe place to expose it, but also to correct it. Lie number 1. Have you ever thought or believed that I bought it, so I own it? I bought it, so I own it. I paid them for it, so I own it. This is a lie. Under copyright law, the original creator, the original author is the one who has the copyright. The only way that you, if you pay for it, get the copyright, meaning you own the rights, the copyrights, is if there's an exception under law or it's in the contract. It has to be assigned in the contract, meaning the rights have to transfer via a contract, and it has to have clear language that shows the copyright is moving and transferring from this owner, the original owner, to the new owner. You cannot own a copyright that you did not create without a written contract. Doesn't matter if you pay them or not. Some of you might have to go back to your brand designers, your graphic designers, and those who, your brand photographers, anyone you hired to do work for you, and get the rights. All right. Lie number 2. Lie number 2. I can remix it and use it. Oh, I can remix this content and use it, and I'm good. Baby, that's a lie. So you know how on YouTube, on Instagram, they have the option for you to remix content. When there is original content being put out on the internet, it's automatically copyright protected, which means, and I did a live on this, just because it's on the internet doesn't mean you can use it free and clear. So when it's copyright protected, this ain't high school. This real life. We stand on business here. In the real life, when you use it, baby, it's copyright infringement. It's strict liability, which means you remixing other people's copyright material is copyright infringement. You need to have the permission to use it, unless you use it for what falls under what's called fair use. Okay, there's an exception in copyright law where you can use material fairly, fair use. But oftentimes when you're just remixing, it ain't under fair use. Y'all committing copyright infringement. And if people, here's the thing, some of you, the reason why you've been able to go so long and not get caught up in copyright infringement or get a cease and desist is because there are people who just don't know their rights. And because they don't know their rights and they don't know what they can do and they don't know how to protect and enforce their rights, you possibly could be getting away scot-free. But it doesn't matter how long it has been. It's copyright infringement and it's strict liability. All right. So that's lie number one. Lie number two. Lie number three is I've been using this name for years, so I'm safe. I've been using this name for years, so I'm safe. Baby, it's just what I just said. Look, when it comes to trademarks and trademark infringement, just because nobody has come up and knocked on your door and be like, yo, what you doing? It doesn't mean that you're free and clear. Okay, I remember a couple of years ago, I saw someone post a post in a Facebook group and they were livid. They were mad because they had their podcast for years. And then someone sent them a cease and desist letter and said, it's trademark. It's already trademark protected. It's trademark registered. So you have to change your name. And they were so upset. But can I tell you something? This is the law, sweetheart. Welcome to the law. Just because you don't know it, just because you don't like it, doesn't mean that someone doesn't have the right to enforce their trademark rights. So just because you've been using a name for so long or a logo, any mark that is eligible for trademark protection, you've been using it for so long, doesn't mean that you're safe to use it. It just means, one, it's possible you just ain't get caught yet. Or two, it is safe, but still you just don't know. And when you don't know, that's still a risk because anybody could tell you it's trademark infringement. And then because you don't know, you can fall for the okey doke. And either you're going to have to spend money to hire an attorney, or you're just going to submit, because oftentimes what happens, and I've heard people tell me this, is the moment they get a cease and desist, the moment the law pops up, they get into freeze mode. And they don't know what to do. And they automatically think that the other person is right. Sometimes the other party is not right, but you don't know that. And so when you don't know that, you acquiesce and you just say, okay, I'm just going to rebrand. And you could have survived it. But anywho, lie number three is you think I've been using this name for so long and now I'm safe. And the reality is that's not just the case, okay? So that's lie number three. Again, if you haven't registered for copyright this, trademark that, you want to be in the room for Kingdom CEOs. And you can register at onedangerousceo.com/events. All right. Welcome. If you're just tuning in, you want to watch this from the beginning. I'm just getting in and out real quick tonight. But we're covering 4 lies that you might be believing about copyrights and trademarks. Lie number 1 is I bought it, so I own it. Lie number 2 is I can remix it and use it. Lie number 3, which we just covered, is I've been using this name for years, so I'm safe. And lie number 4, this is our last lie that I'm going to cover, which is I trademark my logo. So I trademark my logo so nobody else can use anything similar. I trademark my logo, or you can put name, you can put anything in here. I trademarked and nobody else can use anything similar. Baby, that's a lie. That's a lie. I know that we tend to think that if you register a trademark that you have protection all across the board, but you really don't. You have protection in the classes and the related classes. You have protection in the classes that you register your trademark in and related classes, related channels of trade. So what am I talking about? Well, there are 45 classes of goods or services. And here's a way that I explained it in my Beyond TM webinar for my law firm. Think about going into the grocery store. You know how the grocery store has different aisles? You have the bread aisle, you have the dairy aisle, you have meat aisle, right? They're separated. There are different industries and classes. And so depending on what class you're in, what aisle you're in, that's where your protection is. And so you can see, like in the bread aisle, there are multiple different brands of bread. Look, I just bought some bread and I was like, okay, let me get the Dave's Killer bread, because, you know, it's supposed to be nutritious and all of that, versus, you know, getting, you know, my traditional bread. So there are different types of bread. You got croissants, everything. Same thing with trademarks, different type of trademarks in that class. And so when you register for a trademark, you got protection in that class. But let's say we go over to dairy. Dairy ain't bread. Dairy ain't bread, which means somebody that's in the dairy aisle may be able to register a similar mark to yours and be fine with it, because there's no confusion. No confusion. Now, if it's something that's typically sold together, like jeans, t-shirts, clothes, hats, well, in that case, yeah, that's going, you might have some leeway, some protection to stop that. But for the most part, understand that the class that your trademark is registered in is where you have protection. You don't have protection all across the board, y'all. And so those are 4 lies. Look, I ain't gonna get into trademarks tonight, but you know, look, if you want to know more about trademarks, then you need to comment below and I'll send you some information of how you can learn more about trademarks. But in terms of being able to assess and identify what is a copyright and what is a trademark and when protection applies, because protection applies, there are certain criteria that must be met under copyright law and trademark law before the protection automatically kicks in. Automatically kicks in. That means that there are certain spaces and times where copyright protection don't apply. So you think you have a copyright and you really don't. You think you have a trademark and you really don't, which means you're not protected by the law. You got to know when it applies and what is eligible for copyright protection so that you are armed and legally dangerous to strategically position yourself, but also protect the God thing when it's given to you. So make sure you register, get in the room for Copyright This Trademark. That is happening tomorrow. And if you're watching this and you missed it, make sure you go to onedangerousceo.com/events. Okay, you can go there to register, but you also can go there to access it. Okay, so it's, look, everything that we do in Armed and Legally Dangerous is still going to be available unless I say it's not. And so you can either find it on the events page or you can go to our armory. Our armory is where weapons are stored, because Armed and Legally Dangerous has a mandate to cultivate and produce weaponized kingdom CEOs. There's a whole point. You have to be armed and legally dangerous. So we arm you, not just when it comes to the legal, but we arm you in business and we arm you spiritually as well. All right. So make sure, go get in the room, register for tomorrow, onedangerousceo.com/events. And again, if you missed this, because I understand, you look, the algorithm, all of that. Look, God gonna bring it according to God gonna bring it across your screen wherever you are. When it's time, you will find it, and it will be available to you. I can't say it's gonna be free, but it'll be available to you. Okay. So again, register, get in the room. This is it. I'm signing off. I am Shayla Jackson, the Purpose Police. If you found this beneficial, you found this helpful, if you've been believing these lies and now you're like, you know what? I know something. I did not know that. Make sure you like, make sure you share this, make sure you comment below, and make sure you get in the room. That is the best thing that you can do, y'all. It's time to be armed and legally dangerous, because you don't got time to be watching all them YouTube videos and trying to figure it out yourself, because it's free, y'all. The training tomorrow is free. It's free, but it does require a deposit of your time, an investment of your time of 90 minutes, but get in the room. All right, y'all. Y'all have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your evening, night, and even if you don't register, hey, at least you learned 4 lies about copyrights and trademarks. You got something out of it.